It's breaking into cars in broad daylight despite security nearby. Louisville park goers left with windows shattered and belongings taken. It's our top story here on the night team. I'm Isaiah. Kim Martinez. Doug is off. Authorities are investigating the string of break-ins at EP Tom Sawyer State Park in eastern Jefferson County. Taylor Woods and photojournalist Elijah McKenzie have the photos of the suspects still at large tonight and share the warnings from park rangers.
EP Tom Sawyer Park, a place many visitors go to for a dip in the pool, a game of pickleball, or a walk outside.
Seems like a nice, friendly, family-friendly place to visit.
Last week, vehicles in the parking lot were reported with broken windows and personal items like cash, medicine, and a firearm stolen. Some visitors say this theft activity is unusual for this park, but they are keeping an open eye.
I'm a little bit shocked that cars are getting broken into. So I'm gonna definitely be on alert a little more now.
Park Ranger William Brown says these two men in the photos are the suspects believed to be responsible for 3 thefts worth $2,500 in loss and damages. They were also seen driving a black SUV.
When the first incident occurred in the first week of July, things that were taken from the car were later used at a nearby merchant.
And authorities say the car break-ins happened within minutes, and now they're advising visitors to lock their vehicles and to never keep personal belongings in their car.
Brown says this is uncharacteristic behavior for this park, and the Louisville Metro Police 8th Division is assisting with this investigation.
We believe that these individuals was casing the lot, maybe got a feel of what maybe some guests were doing and took advantage of it.
One visitor understands what it's like to have items stolen and can only imagine the frustration that theft victims are facing.
I mean, I've already had a car stolen from me once in the past. That's the last thing I want.
However, state park leaders say don't let fear of this incident stop you from visiting this park.
Our parks are safe. We have rangers here. We have Louisville Metro Police here.
Kentucky State Parks say they'll have increased patrols around the area. In Louisville, Taylor Woods, WHAS11 night team on your side.
And if you recognize those two suspects in those photos, you can contact LMPD at 574-LMPD or the Kentucky State Park Rangers Division. That number is 545-5060. Your tip can remain anonymous. Now, skid marks and chipped concrete remain at a Frankfort Avenue landmark after a deadly crash overnight. It happened at the High Gold House Facade Island around 1:30 in the morning. LMPD investigators say a car was speeding on Frankfort Avenue toward the river when the driver lost control and hit the concrete base of the facade. Police say the driver was the only person in the car and he died at the scene. While there was some broken concrete, no major damage to the facade was reported. And the historic building home to Kentucky Senator Rand Paul's Bowling Green office caught fire overnight. This was the scene when firefighters responded to the fire just before 2 in the morning. The fire department says they found large flames and heavy smoke when they arrived. Crews spent most of the day at the scene, keeping water on the building until they could determine the area was safe. The building also housed a law office. In a statement, Senator Paul thanked first responders and said his office is working with authorities to assess the damage and determine a cause. No injuries were reported. And new on the WHAS11 night team, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear returned to Mayfield today, not to talk about tornado damage, but instead to see the aftermath of record flooding this week. Beshear visited with Mayfield Mayor Kathy Onan and people impacted by the floods. Storms moved through western Kentucky Tuesday night, flooding streets, cars, and homes, and knocking out power. The National Weather Service says Mayfield set a 24-hour rainfall record in the state with at least 11 inches of rain. It's the same area devastated by an EF4 tornado a year and a half ago.
Not to feel like we've been punched in the gut a little bit for this town and this area to be hit again. But I can tell you one thing, the people of Western Kentucky are tough, and after the last year and a half, absolutely know how to lift themselves up and rebuild.
No deaths were reported in the flooding. Governor Beshear says he believes the area will qualify for federal assistance, but regardless, the state will offer help. And while the flood cleanup is underway, Western Kentucky University is offering help to impacted students. The university has identified 35 students who might need aid. They're allowing those students to move in early and have summer housing for free. Then, when their fall assignments are ready, they'll move into those rooms to start the semester.
Whether you're a staff member who works here or a faculty member who works here who may be affected, as well as our students, we just want to make sure they know that we're a community here. And so if there's anything we can do to help and support them, we are more than happy to, listen and make sure they're connected to the resources they need to be successful.
Now, the university can only provide summer housing for free, but housing officials say they'll do what they can to get students necessary resources. And new tonight, UPS and union representatives will be back at the negotiating table next Tuesday. The Teamsters tweeted the update this afternoon. It comes 2 days after UPS said they'd resume negotiations next week. Union officials previously told us that one point still being worked out is pay for part-time employees. A statement from UPS earlier this week said they were prepared to increase pay and benefits, but need to work quickly to finalize a fair deal. Union members have already authorized a strike if a new deal isn't reached before July 31st. And the University of Louisville is raising awareness about the challenges of older adults face, or the challenges they face when they become the primary caregivers for relatives. U of L's Traeger Institute says about 125,000 kids in Kentucky are being cared for by relatives rather than their parents. Grandparents are caring for more than 50,000 of those kids. That's about 40%. WHAS11's Travis Breeze spoke with one woman raising 3 of her nieces and nephews.
I'd rather for them to be with me than with a stranger.
For many aunts, uncles, and grandparents, it's a sense of responsibility.
I was willing to go to any length that I had to do to make sure they were safe and they were happy.
Jackie Martinez works for a company that provides security for us at WHAS11. She took temporary custody of 3 nieces and nephews in November. She brought 11-year-old Aisha to work on Friday.
Mom and Dad got off on the wrong track, and they were going to be placed in the care of some other people that they didn't even know anything about, so I stepped up as aunt.
Martinez says she and her husband have had some issues jumping through all the hoops necessary to get state funding. The University of Louisville Traeger Institute says more and more people are ending up in this situation after the pandemic and with nationwide trends like increased drug use and incarceration.
I think that's a really good baseline for all of us to consider when we're working with populations that's also raising their grandchildren as well.
The Institute had a Zoom session Friday specifically about grandparent caregivers and how to connect them to social services and state funding. Martinez says she doesn't need a check to watch over her nieces and nephews.
And I felt good that I'm able to bring them here to work and still be able to work and have my job.
But the Traeger Institute is hoping to raise awareness so we can get more smiles like this one.
Like, she really means a lot to me, and she's getting old, and I want her in my life before she goes.
Now, Travis Breeze reporting there. A spokesperson for the Cabinet for Health and Family Services says Kentucky's Caregiver program received $1.9 million in the fiscal year 2024 budget. We have more information about that program along with other resources on our website, WHAS11.com. And the protests in 2020 sparked a racial justice movement still felt today, and new tonight, a downtown mural will now commemorate those who marched for change. Nimbus, a marketing and communications agency, unveiled the mural on the side of its 3rd Street building downtown. It's called Twan's Gift, based off a photo taken during a protest at the state capitol on June 5th, 2020. Photographer John Cherry and Twando Rondo, featured in the photo, say they hope it sends a message to those who see it walking by.
What I want people to understand is that this fight is really not over. Every time you hear or see Breonna Taylor's name, understand that our job is not over.
This is a piece of history that's going to live in the city forever. This is not something that can be paved over. This isn't a book that can be banned or burned. It's going to serve as an ever-living reminder of what happened here and the fact that we still have so much work to be done.
The mural was commissioned through Louisville's Board of Public Art.